I think that when we read scripture, sometimes we'll read some of the most simple passages and then we tend to skip over them, really sometimes missing out on the biggest points and the most profound truths that come from the passage. Case in point, I was reading John chapter 11, verse 35, and it is actually the shortest passage in scripture. It reads this. Watch this. Jesus wept. And I've often read that passage not really understanding the weight and the gravity of what that passage meant. And when I was reading it, I learned something really important. The Greek word that's used in that passage for Jesus wept, the word wept in Greek is the word dekruo. And dekruo means that Jesus cried softly. Now, we've translated it over the years to become Jesus wept. When I think of the word wept in English, I think of crying so loudly and wailing that it is a clear public display for people to see that I'm crying. But the Bible actually intended to say that Jesus cried softly. And the way that I want to encourage you is by saying that there are some of you that may be going through some really difficult seasons right now. There may be some of you that are feeling the weight and the pressure of life and what it means to live in the year 2025. And you're wondering to yourself, how am I going to possibly make it through? And I really believe that there is power in being able to show emotions, in that Jesus himself showed emotions, and yet he was composed and still carrying his bearings enough to carry out his call. And so, for those of you tired, for those of you wondering what this next season will hold for you, I want you to know that you can show up in spite of your emotions. And even though you feel like crying, it's okay to cry from time to time, but still show up, still bring your presence, still bring your energy, still try your absolute best in spite of whatever circumstance you may be going through, and put your best foot forward. Because in that passage, even though in verse 11 or chapter 11, verse 35, Jesus wept, he still went about the business of bringing death to life. And maybe in your life, you just showing up is making a huge impact on the world.